on 1010XL.
Welcome into Helmets and Heels on this non-victory Tuesday night. ESPN is on here in the studio, and they're showing Trevor Lawrence getting helped off the field last night. Obviously, the Jaguars lost 34-31 in overtime.
I feel like they didn't have to do the banner the way they just did.
They just did. Jaguars lose, Lawrence hurt. Those are the only two things
The only one that's worse, and Taylor and I were talking about this in our office, is when D-Rock was on earlier today live with Jay Harris, and the lower super banner was Trevor Lawrence hurt because Walker Little fell into him. And I was like, man, you got to do Walker Little like that? Like, I mean, there were a lot of things that went wrong on that play. Like, I don't know if we could just put it all on Walker.
I mean, he was hurt too.
Yeah.
And also he got hurt too on the play. Yeah, that's for starters.
So apparently, Frank was telling us that Baselli said that Walker Little was actually hurt on the play before, and he was trying to tough out the hamstring injury, and then he got bull rushed by Sam Bullard.
No, by Trey Hendrickson.
And Sam Hubbard is who I was thinking of, but not him. And then that's why he got hurt. In the end, there's also other communications issues on the plays, but all of it to say Trevor Lawrence is not lost for the season, hopefully. I'm going to add that. He doesn't need surgery, Doug believes, as of now, and hopefully he's going to be able to play soon. I don't know if that's this Sunday. I would doubt that, but we shall see. Yeah. Trevor Lawrence has been hurt before, and we didn't expect him necessarily back that quickly, and he was able to play, whether it's last year when he suffered the toe injury and the loss of the Lions, this year when he suffered the knee injury. And then he played against the Saints on Thursday Night Football in a short week. So, to me, Mia, anything is possible.
Yeah, and the only thing we know for certain, as this also now pops up on SportsCenter, is that Christian Kirk is the only player who Doug Peterson said definitively will miss some time, is getting a second opinion on that core muscle injury. It was officially listed as a groin injury last night. Listeners at home can kind of do the math on what that injury may exactly be. And depending on what that second opinion and what the results of sending out the MRI and what have you out reveal, he could have surgery. I did hear Dan Graziano of ESPN say, or actually, it's not great Dan Graziano, I just saw him on the TV, Mike Garafolo. I love my Italians from New Jersey with last names that begin with G. Garafolo did say that he heard that if, let's say, Christian Kirk has surgery this week, he could be ready for the postseason. Now, this team clearly learned last night you can't be thinking about the postseason right now. This is a week-to-week business, and you got to be focused on the next game at hand. But obviously, that is probably more optimal than just saying, all right, he's done for the year, you won't see him until next season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want to say it was Rappaport that said possibly 8 weeks. And if that's the case, then he could return for potentially the AFC Championship game, and then, maybe the Super Bowl. Right. I don't think that that's where their heads certainly need to be at. And a lot went wrong last night, Taylor, from the injury, obviously, to several different players, but certainly to the quarterback. The defense completely collapsed, had several issues.
Yeah.
And special teams also didn't come through the way that we expect them to. It was so disappointing to me because not only did I know a ton of people in the stands so excited for this game, but because this was your moment to silence the doubters that say, I'm not sure I believe in the Jaguars yet. This was your moment, and you laid an egg.
Yeah, and that's what I was just telling Frank on Crosstalk, is because that is the biggest bummer. Obviously, you do not want to see injuries, especially to your franchise quarterback, especially to a guy like Christian Kirk, who's having a season where every single game he seems like he's one of the more reliable pieces. But when you are on that primetime platform and listening to the pregame too of when they're just going on and on about how good the Jags defense is and how they have one of the best run defenses in the league and no one's been able to run on them, and they're going through all of these numbers, and then they're like, and the Bengals haven't been able to run all year, and the Bengals defense has been disappointing this season, and it just like everything completely flopped in this game to where you're like, man, like they were finally giving some recognition, I felt like, in the beginning of, okay, like, hey, this Jaguars team has been playing really well and they've been doing some really good things, and then you feel like it did fall flat in this game because, like you said, there was a lot of issues. There was missed tackles of guys that we've seen play Darius Williams has been lights out all season, and I saw 3 different moments where I was like, what is he doing? Like, he doesn't do that. Tyson Campbell, we've been talking about all season long.
Arguably the worst game since his rookie season.
Just moments like that where you're like, these are the guys that you've been able to consistently count on all year. Not so much on the offensive side of the ball that they've had ups and downs, but I feel like the defense has been consistent. And to fall flat on Monday Night Football, it's a bummer. It really
Here's
sucks.
one positive, though, to that. Obviously, the biggest positive is that Trevor Lawrence, is day-to-day, week-to-week, however you want to look at it, which that is extremely, the positive. But according to 537 on the text line brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures, last night's Bengals-Jaguars Monday Night Football game averaged a combined 16.4 million viewers across ABC, ESPN, and the Manningcast. It was the season high on the Manningcast. The largest Week 13 Monday Night Football audience overall since 2010. So I don't want to hear it about no one wants to watch the Jags and Trevor Lawrence.
That's definitely good. I think a lot of that was constant lead changes. There was multiple ties in the game. So when people look at their phones and they're like, oh, this is a good game, we should turn it on. I do think that played a factor in it. But I do think because of the way the Jags have been playing in certain games recently where Trevor Lawrence, you feel like was starting to turn that corner of maybe in the beginning it was a little slow in certain aspects, and lately you've been like, okay, Trevor's back. Like what we saw in the second half last season, we started to see again. And so a lot of people were probably wanting to tune in for that. And it's not Joe Burrow. If Joe Burrow was there, imagine what it would even look like. So it is cool because you are seeing now that people are showing some recognition. But then, again, unfortunate because that many people saw the defense lay an egg.
Yeah, and they saw the quarterback slam his helmet down and be carried off the field. And I think sometimes people write teams off when that happens. We just saw last night why you shouldn't do that, though. Mm-hmm. Jake Browning looked like the second coming of Joe Burrow last night, the way he torched this defense and got the ball to his playmakers. And that's what is lost a little bit is how good Trevor Lawrence was playing.
Yeah.
My goodness, some of the passes he was throwing, and not all were caught, by the way.
Yeah.
His numbers would have looked even better had each pass been caught, but that's going to happen. You're going to have drops. But my word, yes, here is Trevor Lawrence making his Monday Night Football debut, and then everyone sees him get hurt. But at the end of the day, I do wonder, Mia, if Joe Burrow was in the game last night, is there a different energy for the team all week last week in preparation? And is there a different way that the defense plays, knowing they're going up against one of the best quarterbacks in all of football versus a guy making his second career start?
Yes. I haven't even spoken outside of, I spoke with obviously several defensive players last night in the post-game locker room. Haven't spoken to any of them today. But while they wouldn't concede it last night, I'm sure when we talk to them throughout the duration of this week, there will be a little bit of, another good wake-up call, which I know you Jaguar fans out there are sick and tired of hearing it. But the reality is this is still a young team. It's going to take a couple of wake-up calls. It doesn't just happen. What's the line from? You can't just make fetch happen. Like that's literally what it is. You can't just make a team learn how to win and also sustain wins. It's great that this team has been able to rally since the midway point of last year. They've found themselves down in games. They find ways to win. They go down 14-13 to the Texans in Houston. No worries. March right down the field, score. Defense gets a stop, score again. That's great. But there's a whole other side of this now that they're still learning. And I think if you talk to Doug Peterson even before this game, he would say the same thing.
Yeah. Well, in addition, the Bengals right now are fighting really hard to even get a playoff spot and they're doing it without their starting quarterback. So there probably is a little extra fire under them because they're obviously a talented roster. You can go through the list of all the players, and even without a quarterback, we talked about it last week and we'll get into it next segment. But guys like Jamar Chase, it's hard to not let him have big moments, and he had big moments. And the thing with teams like the Bengals is you have to limit those, and unfortunately the Jags just couldn't do that yesterday.
Yeah, and I do think Tyson Campbell was playing hurt last night, and then we know he did also sustain a quad injury, so that he might have been rushed back just a little bit fast. But all that to say, Mia, time now for the Jaguars injury report, and I know it will not be short.
The personal injury attorneys of Farah and Farah present this injury update. Farah and Farah,
Jacksonville.
Exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Here we go. All right, one by one, we begin with Trevor Lawrence, the right high ankle sprain. I know there's been much debate about a high ankle sprain versus a low ankle sprain. Low ankle sprain supposed to be less severe than the high, and yet Doug Peterson said that this is, quote, just a high ankle sprain. In saying so, I think he was referring to the MRI coming back clean. There is no ligament damage. It is just a sprain. Yes, it is in the high ankle region, but it sounded like, from what Doug said, there's no need for surgery, and it's just going to be a pain tolerance week by week, see how the swelling goes, and from there the Jaguars will be able to determine if Trevor Lawrence is able to give it a go this week, the following week, so on and so forth. All right, and we get to Christian Kirk, the core muscle injury. Again, they are getting a second opinion in terms of if surgery is needed. Doug Peterson said he believes it may actually come to pass, and then it would be that 4 to 8 week, anywhere between there, because we don't know exactly what the injury is for his return to the field. Walker Little, left hamstring injury. He suffered actually earlier than the play that Trevor was hurt on. I've been told that it is significant enough that he could also miss some time. Doug Peterson said today that they're going to continue to just monitor it. They're going to see how he can weight bear, if you may. If he can't go, Blake Hance steps in as the swing tackle. Trey Herndon.
And then who's the swing tackle, by the way?
That's a great question. Most likely Cole Van Lannon or Ezra Cleveland, because we know he had expressed interest in playing tackle, the position he played at Boise State. Trey Herndon remains in the concussion protocol. This was a good one. Not good because obviously it's an injury, but Greg Jr. obviously spent some time on the reserve injured list earlier this year with a hamstring injury. He came up limp in the game, was listed with a hamstring injury. Doug Peterson said today that it was just cramps, and so hopefully the cramps are able to subside, but we did see Andre Sisco miss a game earlier this year because of cramps to his hamstring. Speaking of Andre, he left the game briefly with a shoulder injury, but he told me, and Doug Peterson confirmed this morning, he is doing A-OK. Foley Fatukasi was listed with an ankle injury. Doug explained that it's more of a heel contusion. He is officially day-to-day. And Tyson Campbell had missed the last few games with a hamstring injury. He suffered a right quad strain during overtime. He is also considered day-to-day this week. Travis Etienne entered the game with a rib injury. Doug said that he, quote, made it out clean, but obviously was sore this morning. This is the Farrah and Farrah injury update.
Can I also ask you, because what about Beathard? Because there were moments during the game where he was like holding his wrist for a little bit and people were a little concerned. Was there anything with that?
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now. So apparently, because I was not with Doug, I was in the locker room, and so Hayes was in there. Let me double check it.
I read that Beathard said to someone in the locker room that he did like feel like something with his wrist, but he was fine after the game.
Because obviously he kept going, but I just remember there was like a few moments and the camera kept zooming in on his hand, and I was like, okay, we don't have another quarterback.
He did. So CJ Beathard did speak with reporters at the podium as well last night, and he said that I just landed on my shoulder weird. It's nothing I'm worried about.
It's weird that he says shoulder. Because it was definitely his wrist. He was.
Well, maybe he was like holding.
Yeah, maybe he was like holding up his like whole arm.
Right,
yeah.
and so
but he was never put on the injury report as far as last night is concerned, or it was never communicated to us any injuries in the press box.
Yeah.
But we'll see with tomorrow's practice if he's listed on the injury report. And what is interesting, Mia, is that Trevor Lawrence will speak to the media tomorrow. So
yes.
I feel like that's good news.
It's very good news.
It's not CJ Beathard automatically speaking to media.
And everybody I spoke to this afternoon down at the bank said, oh yeah, he's on the schedule. And I think it's not just Jaguar fans that are saying it. It is people inside that building that the commonality between, I don't even know if that's a word, but like the commonality between, it is perfect, between Patrick Mahomes and Trevor Lawrence goes beyond the arm talent. It's the fact that they are both Gumby. And they both have this weird ability to overcome injuries that any other human would be on the shelf for weeks or months. And
right. Mahomes played with a high ankle sprain in the same game.
Yes. It's against the Jaguars in the AFC divisional round. He came back out of the locker room and played.
I hate to say his name, but Aaron Rodgers does it too.
And Russell Wilson did it too back in his prime. Yeah. So it's
shoot him up, let him go.
It's totally possible. Lauren, I know you and I have both echoed this sentiment. If there's any reason beyond obviously long-term health of Trevor to possibly sit him this week if he is cleared to play, it would be that the weather in Cleveland looks to be a little bit nasty.
Yeah. He already is dealing with a knee injury. It seemed like he was fully healthy, and I now regret tweeting last night early in the game like, yeah, Trevor's fully healthy. You can tell by the way he's running the football. Great. But overall, like, yes, this is not as much as every single game in the NFL feels like a must-win game. I don't believe that the Jaguars going against the Browns is necessarily a must-win game. We haven't gotten there. There's still 5 games left. But if there's a chance of if you're going to put in a player with a slight injury, if there's a chance of re-injuring it or making it worse, you don't want to do that if especially it's going to be bad weather. So we'll see as the week goes on. The best news, like Mia said, it wasn't, at least as of today, said that it's season ending. Mm-hmm. So for everyone last night, and I understand, I mean, the stadium, Taylor, was silent.
You could hear it through the TV, the silence. And especially when he tried to get back up.
Correct.
I was like,
yes, correct. And I mean, it was, the silence was literally deafening. Ugh. And so the fact, I'm sure a lot of people at that moment thought the season's over. Yeah. Plus, not just Trevor, but all the other injuries too, the season's over. Well, hopefully not. We will preview next week's game and review our impact players that we picked against the Bengals, as well as Taylor's opposing players. You are listening to Helmets and Heels, driven by Tara Outlet on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Get your Gators hoops on 1010XL.
It's the Gators and Merrimack, tonight at 6:30 on 1010 AM.
I'm Clayton Bromberg, the president of Underwoods. If you've ever wondered why some jewelry stores and department stores always have a sale going at 50 to 75% off, there's a good reason. Because most of the time, they're not real sales. The prices are marked up so they can sell the piece at a big discount and still make the profit they need. If you wanted to find a realistic sales event, the store wouldn't run a year-round sale and the discounts would be a little more realistic. For example, Underwoods puts all of our diamond solitaire necklaces and ear studs on sale in December at 15% below the prices we sell at the rest of the year. So there's a genuine savings to the customer. We also take trade-ins, so it's the ideal time to buy for someone looking to grow their pendant or ear studs up to a larger size. Now at Underwoods, we don't run a lot of sales, but when we do, they're real and a good time to buy. So come see us at Underwoods, San Marco, Avondale, or the shops of Ponte Vedra.
Now in Hodges Mazda, the 2024 Mazda CX-5 promises every moment will be elevated and every detail harmonious. Lauren Brooks here. During the Season of Inspiration sales event, purchase a new 2024 Mazda CX-5 with 0% APR for 60 months, plus no payments for 90 days. Yes, we said 90 days. Our professional, non-commissioned sales team will always put your best interests first, and every vehicle purchased comes with 2 years free maintenance. Visit Hodges Mazda today or shop online at HodgesMazda.com to discover the Hodges Mazda difference. See dealer for details. Terms and fees for qualified applicants expires January 2nd, 2024.
Whether it's a large commercial project or a multifamily property, trust All Pro Roofing for exceptional craftsmanship and unparalleled customer service. We use only the finest materials, ensuring durability and long-lasting results. Plus, All Pro Roofing now has a full siding and windows division. That's right, All Pro Roofing is not just about roofs anymore. All Pro Roofing, now your trusted partner for commercial roofing, multifamily projects, exterior siding, and windows. AllProRoofingLLC.com.
License number CCC 1327056.
CDC 060138.
Are you 18 years or older, just got married, just got divorced, or have children? Listen up. Have you done your last will and estate planning? You have questions? Call Matt Hinson with the Hinson Law Firm. Reach him at 527-1700, offices Jacksonville, Florida. And don't let the state decide your fate.
A judge has a gavel. I've got a hammer. I'm Hayes Carlion. It's Hammer Time with Hayes. Weekdays on The Frangie Show on 1010XL. Brought to you by Golden Hammer Roofing and Gutters, the golden standard in roofing.
Make a crucial catch against colon cancer. Hicken here for the Borland Groover Foundation. If you're 45 or older, the ball is in the red zone to get screened. The key to surviving colon cancer, early detection and prevention. 45 is the new 50. Get screened for colon cancer now. The Borland Groover Foundation is a nonprofit organization devoted to building a healthy and equitable community that is free from colon cancer. Visit BorlandGrooverFoundation.com for more.
What? They did not tell me they were going to do that. I need a new bank.
Well, actually, One-to-One Financial doesn't do the usual bank surprises because we're not a bank. We're a credit union, and that means lower loan interest, things like free checking and member rewards, and of course, total investment back into our community.
I'm sold.
Find a better way to bank than big banks with One-to-One Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. Visit 121fcu.org for more information on opening an account today.
Federally insured by NCUA.
Do you love sports? Do you also love wings? Enjoy the best wings in Jacksonville in Miramar, Mandarin, and Oakleaf at Players Grill. Watch your favorite teams and enjoy burgers, pizza, salads, and of course, wings. Players Grill, where the neighborhood meets.
Ride in style with a brand new set of tires from Tire Outlet. We offer the best selection, best quality, and best prices so that you can find the best tires for your vehicle. With over 40 years of experience and 15 locations across Florida, Tire Outlet is the brand you can trust with your vehicle's tires and much more. Hurry in for great deals on tires with our legendary price match guarantee. Our expert technicians are ready to do the maintenance and repairs to keep your vehicle performing its best. Tire Outlet, wholesale prices, premium service.
Local 234 plumbers, pipe fitters, and HVAC technicians would like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and thank you to all the members and contractors for their continued support and partnership. Together, they've helped build a stronger foundation for Jacksonville since 1901. Enjoy spending time with your friends and families this holiday season. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Local 234. Make the right connection.
Hey Jaguars fans, are you tired of being late to the game because you're stuck in traffic looking for a parking space? Well, join the thousands of other Jags fans who already know the smartest way to get to Everbank Field is on JTA's Game Day Express. Shuttles run from 5 locations around Jacksonville. Passes start at $10 and are available exclusively on the MyJTA mobile app. Visit JTAFLA.com for full details. The JTA Game Day Express, where you're winning before the game even starts. Your Game Day Express is sponsored by the Jacksonville Zoo and Gardens.
Time now for a medical recap. A health and wellness tip from Jaguars head team physician Dr. Kevin Kaplan.
Regular movement is key to so many health benefits. Aim for at least 10,000 steps a day. Decide to only take the stairs if you're walking less than 6th floor. Never park in the first 10 spaces of the parking lot. Walk during your work breaks. Get up 10 minutes earlier in the morning and take a short, brisk walk before the chaos of the day starts. There are so many easy ways to stay active. Let's get moving, Jacksonville.
Just like those little holiday snow globes, you better get ready to shake up the season because Toyotathon is on at Arlington Toyota. Right now at Arlington, get financing as low as 2.99% on 10 new Toyota models. And Arlington has more than 500 new Toyotas available, plus every new Toyota purchase comes with Arlington's lifetime warranty. Toyotathon is on at Arlington. Shop in person, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online 24/7 at arlingtontoyota.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Helmets and Heels, driven by Tire Outlet.
Brought to you by Underwood Jewelers.
And First Coast Lighting and Fans on 1010XL.
One way or another, there will be a football game on Sunday. We shall see who's the starting quarterback, honestly, for both teams. The Jaguars still obviously up in the air with Trevor Lawrence, and the ankle injury could be C.J. Beathard. But Doug did say today, Mia, that they're not going after any other quarterbacks, at least as of now, or they haven't had that conversation yet.
Which
so I'm sure there has to be another quarterback that they're thinking about.
Sorry to cut you off. I love our boy Mike DiRocco. But Nick Foles.
Oh, yeah, I understand the question about another quarter, like bringing another quarterback.
Oh, no, that I was total. But then he goes,
but he did mention
Nick Foles. And I was just like,
trauma.
What? D-Rock.
Because of Doug's relationship with Nick Foles.
Yeah.
Not the time he spent
But
here,
like that, why does this have to, I understand they want a Super Bowl together, but like, why does it have to be the de facto? There's plenty of quarterbacks on the street right now.
I was in the press box thinking, like, who else could they get? And then I saw Hacker tweeted about Tom Brady. Like, have you ever been to Jacksonville? Would you like to play here? Which he's not coming back, but that was a great option if he was. Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know. Phillip Rivers, once upon a time, was willing to come and play for the Niners last year in an emergency situation in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's true.
And they had the plan in place.
But I feel like any quarterback who's been out of football at least for a little while, and they're like, yeah, I guess I'll come back. It's like, I don't know. Maybe we should just stick with one who's been practicing day in and day out. I do think Nathan Rourke would be QB3.
Elevate him from the practice squad, and they'll do the same thing that they, my guess, because we do not know Trevor's status just yet. Again, all we know, if you're just joining us, he is scheduled to meet with reporters tomorrow. Do with that information what you will. Nathan Rourke was elevated, standard practice squad elevation against the Saints, was the emergency third-string quarterback when the trainers cleared Trevor Lawrence to play against the Saints on Thursday Night Football. And so while Nathan Rourke was inactive, if something had happened, he would have been eligible to play, and so he was suited up.
Okay.
I would assume, unless they decide prior to Sunday that Trevor can't go, that is what the plan of attack will be.
Yeah. Can Doug's son play quarterback?
Yeah. I think it would be. I wondered yesterday. I was like, so would it be Logan Cook when we did see C.J. Beathard struggle
Because Christian
a little
Kirk
bit?
is the other one, so it's
Okay.
Logan Cook and Christian Kirk,
right?
Which you were already down him as well.
Yeah.
So
like we're getting to that. We got to that point last night where
We
it was
already
like,
saw
I
the
don't
wide
know.
receiver throw a pick for the Bengals earlier.
We also know that Logan Cook though can throw.
Yeah.
He has a perfect passer rating this
He
season.
didn't punt well last season, so last night. So I don't know that he was going to throw well last night.
He did just go after Colin Cowherd on Twitter,
Good.
X, whatever you're calling it, for
I think we can just keep Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter, for questioning the cart situation, which,
Yes.
by the way, I have pried around Everbank Stadium for the last 24 hours. Haven't gotten anything confirmed. We will ask Trevor tomorrow, but again, this is not based on what I've been told. This is just knowing Trevor. It sounded like he was trying to walk because he wanted to at least like keep it moving as
Sure.
opposed to stiffening up and like going right
Yeah.
onto a cart. So that's number one. And number two, as for why the police officer was helping him, I would assess it as number one, Jeff Ferguson, Helmets and Heels, frequent listener, good friend of our show.
Head athletic trainer
for the Jaguars. Probably needed to be on the field because at the rate that the injuries were occurring, you probably want him out there. So that's number one. And number two, because height-wise, I think they were like, okay, we need someone who can be Trevor's height to help him. And thankfully, one of our wonderful Jacksonville Sheriff's Office deputies was Trevor's
So
height.
there's not someone 5'4" trying to let go.
Right.
Trevor.
And so, again, this is just me speculating, but that was the assessment I got, was that they wanted to keep him upright and moving, and he wanted to keep moving. He was trying to get off the field on his own as is.
Right.
And so that is why I don't think there was a cart. But anyways, Colin Cowherd still led with the whole segment today, which I do listen to Cowherd from time to time, so I'm not bashing him per se. I'm just bashing this segment, in which he said that it's Florida, everybody owns a golf cart. Maybe you should move to Orlando because you're a Mickey Mouse operation, to which Logan Cook just quote tweeted it and said, "You are a clown, dude. The people in that facility are treated like gold." So,
and the one quote he said also, "I can't take the Jaguars seriously." And I'm like, he constantly says stuff like this. And a lot of it, I think, truly is for clicks and hot takes because he knows that caption's going to get people to watch this video and do whatever. Because there's some times where I'm like, there's no way you actually believe those words coming out of your mouth.
It was really
strange,
stupid. I mean, come on, we don't have to agree
What?
that like everything the Jags do is fine. Like, don't you think that was dumb?
No,
that
I
they
would've-
just had
Trevor
him
saying
walking
no.
out with a cop yesterday. Like, I mean, Jags fans were making fun of it on Twitter today.
I mean, it was weird,
You don't
but it
have
wasn't
to defend that.
saying you can't take a whole organization seriously because the quarterback said he wanted to walk off.
The part that
I
was,
don't know if that's what happened.
Well, Logan Bowles, who takes those photographs, he said he was right there and he saw Trevor say, like, I want to walk. I want to try to walk it off.
Yeah, what's interesting, so the layout of the land for us in the press box, straight in front of us is the blue medical tent and the Jaguar sideline, right? Because we're on the home side. And so anytime a player gets hurt and has to go either into the medical tent or straight into the locker room entrance is also, that tunnel is also directly in front of us. And like literally where I sit and Mia sits, we're on like the 10-yard line or so. It's literally right in front of us. So almost every time a player gets hurt, we watch them go in the medical tent. We all talk to each other about when they get out, whether or not they go back in the field or whether they go in the locker room. Well, what was strange about the whole situation is Trevor went the other way. He went to the left.
he went to the left, and then because I intercepted him as he was going into the x-ray room, then walked the whole tunnel, as ESPN documented as well.
Right. So I don't know why.
Like, someone has to step in there and be like, this is ridiculous.
Like, I don't know why I thought he was getting on a cart and going to an ambulance because he went the
other
opposite
way.
way. And
Yeah,
so I was like, oh, this must be more serious than what I initially expected because he's not following the procedure that every other injured player follows. And I saw a cart moving and I was like, oh my gosh. But then he didn't get on the cart, and then I saw the video
it
on
just
Twitter.
like goes past, speeds past him.
Yeah, I was like, what exactly is happening here? Like, none of this is going according to the procedural plan, but either way, I'm not involved in that. So we, again, will just reiterate, at least it seems like he's going to be okay, and maybe he'll even play on Sunday. Who knows? We've seen crazier things happen. All right, let's review our impact players against the Bengals. I took a victory lap in the press box last night when Evan Ingram scored the touchdown because I picked him 2 weeks in a row, and I was bound and determined he was getting a touchdown. One of the times I picked him, it obviously had nothing to do with me, but that, 22-yard reception that he took down the left sideline and then did that jump into the end zone. That was probably the moment that Everbank Stadium last night had the most fun, either that or the Josh Allen interception. One of those times, they certainly had a great time. Mia, you had Calvin Ridley so close to another touchdown and so close to getting this team to win last night.
Multiple times over, because Trevor hit him somehow, some way before halftime on that heave in which he didn't even have the laces of the football in his grasp. He just kind of, screw it, in the words of Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Calvin's down there somewhere.
Yeah.
Hits him perfectly, and it just went through his
wild.
arms. Yeah.
That's the weirdest thing with Calvin this year is because he'll do things like that and then he'll drop ones that you see where like it hits him straight in the hands, and I'm like, how do you make the like diving, falling on the ground, ball wiggling around, last second throw, but not one that hits you directly where it's supposed to hit you?
Yeah, it is crazy because the one he didn't catch on the sideline was wild how he spun and kept his feet in and everything. So yeah, hopefully there will be a game where every pass thrown his way he catches. JJ, you had Travis Etienne. I thought he played fine.
Did you?
I don't think the offensive line blocked very well for him.
I think he's the worst short yardage running back I've ever seen in my life.
Okay.
I don't know why they give him the ball every time on those situations and constantly get stood up.
So do you think he has holes that he's not hitting?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
He just runs straight into the back of like the one run. I think it was like he hit a brick wall. It just stopped and he fell
Every
backwards.
time.
I was like, oh, okay.
And he never gets like that yard.
Yeah.
You know, like some guys will get hit in the backfield and
Yeah.
they'll still take a dude over for a first down. He never does that.
Part
he
of
gets
it,
no
too,
push.
is obviously the rib injury, and whether they're admitting it or not, I mean, just watch the tape. Like, he clearly is twisting his body in a way that favors the rib, and in turn, he is not able to plunge the way that a healthy running back would.
Which, I mean, if he's not able to do the things that they want him to do, whether that is his lack of vision or if the offensive line isn't playing super well and run blocking well enough for him to find some holes, then put in Dearness Johnson and let's see what we got. I mean, I think he's earned some more snaps with the way that we've seen him play. He had one carry for loss last night, but everybody has those in the NFL, including Joe Mixon. And so, yeah. All right. So then on the opposing side, Taylor had Jamar Chase. I'd say you had a big win with that one, unfortunately.
Well, I don't have a win on that one.
Yeah, but
this is what's supposed to not happen.
Right,
but.
exactly. But unfortunately, he had a really good game.
Yeah.
And then defensively, I had Josh Allen. He might have been the only defensive player that played well throughout the entire game. Although there was one time Browning carried the ball and he was going away from us on where we are. And I saw Josh Allen just kind of like look at him run by. And I was like, that's not what we're supposed to do. Now, I couldn't quite tell how close he was to him. That's easier to see on TV than up where we are. But other than that, Josh Allen had a really
He also
good game.
went invisible for a second and got a pick. Because in that moment, I was like, what just happened?
Did you see what Bill Barnwell posted? He did the Pokemon meme, and it's like, suddenly, a rare Josh Allen appears.
What's crazy is, I mean, I don't know how they showed that on TV, but like, it was so obvious. Tyler Boyd looked at him in the eyes and was like, I'm going to you. Like, do you realize that you're in all white, we're in all black? But either way, I do think that play would have been more nationally mocked. It probably was on social media for a brief period of time last night. But I think that play gets more coverage today if the Bengals lose.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely. Although I think a lot of people had written the Bengals off already before last night's game. And so, then they kind of just
But
say,
they'd be like, Zach
they're
Taylor,
dead.
what are you thinking?
Right.
Especially
there was a
on
few
the
of
very
those
first
plays.
drive.
No,
What are
there
you
was.
thinking?
And Coach Campo looked at me and he's like, what's with these young whippersnapper offense coordinators, the Taylor brothers? I'm like, I don't know, dude. Like, they're just out here wilding. To your point, though, Lauren, my impact player on defense was Trey Herndon, which our good buddy John Shipley noted. And, of course, that's his guy. But he did note that Trey Herndon, was he the glue after all? Because he leaves on the fourth defensive play. And from that moment forth, it looked like no one knew where to go. You had Devin Lloyd reverting to his 2022 self, where Andre Sisco's having to line him up, Foyer's having to line him up. Then, of course, with all the depth issues, Greg Jr. and Antonio Johnson are deer in the headlights because they're young players, and suddenly they don't know where they're going to be. And, so maybe Trey Herndon was the glue all along. And there's a reason that they told us time in and time out, we won a lot of games last year with him as the third best corner.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's the Zay to the defense.
Right, exactly. We just had no idea. We knew Zay was that to the offense. But yeah, I mean, clearly that position is more complicated than just playing outside corner. And yeah, not having Trey Herndon was certainly a big loss last night. JJ, you had Trayvon Walker. What'd you think he did?
I thought he was decent, I guess. Like you said, the whole defense. just got gashed. I mean, that rookie running back looked like Barry Sanders. They were terrible
really
yesterday.
And there was one time Joe Mixon didn't bust through for the touchdown, but it looked like
Oh, if he would have got, he was probably
like,
at the 40-yard line or
yes,
something.
it was like, oh my
That could have been
word.
a 60-yard touchdown right
Absolutely.
there.
And I mean, obviously the defense allowed a lot of explosive plays, including that 76-yard touchdown catch to Jamar Chase. All right, and then Taylor, you had Logan Wilson. He didn't like pop out to me.
Yeah, and he's I think a big part of why the Jags couldn't run too much. But he's also was like a last minute. He was injured, and that was what I was kind of talking about last week. Like if he's 100%, I think he'll make more of an impact. I wasn't staring at him, so I don't know exactly what he was doing. You weren't hearing his name really called, but the Jags couldn't really do anything up front. So I guess there was a little bit of that.
All right, going this week, I will say Blake Hance and Anton Harrison going up against the Browns because they're going to have to try and block Myles Garrett and probably more Anton versus Myles. Myles Garrett does already have 13 sacks on the season, so watch out for him. Yeah. And then defensively, I'll say Darius Williams because I think, who knows, we'll see on Tyson Campbell, but you have to try and keep Amari Cooper out of the end zone. So I'll say Blake Hance, if he plays left tackle, Anton Harrison for sure right tackle, on the offensive side of the ball, and Darius Williams on the defensive side of the ball. Mia?
I will say Ezra Cleveland on the offensive side of the ball because, who knows? We just had a texter on the text line brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures say, does Anton move to left? No, I don't see that happening.
I don't think so either.
But, you have Blake Hance, who you trust, to play any position along the offensive line.
And he was eligible several times last night.
Yes. And so you can play him at tackle if Walker Little can't go. Ezra Cleveland, again, has said that he will play tackle if you need him to. He has not in the NFL, but he did in college. He's going to have to shore up that offensive line. And I would think, too, knowing the liability that Luke Fortner has been at times this year, maybe they try to line Myles Garrett up on the interior. We know Brandon Scherf struggled last night. Can Ezra Cleveland kind of carry the load in that interior? On the defensive side of the ball, I have Rayshon Jenkins because, number one, I think the Browns are going to try to run the ball regardless of who their quarterback
They'd be
is.
dumb not to.
And his tackling last night left a lot to be desired after the likes of Troy Aikman on XL Primetime and so many others were praising him for his play against the Texans, and then the tackling just went to heck in a handbasket. This is per Jake Trotter, who is the D-Rock of the Cleveland Browns. According to Next Gen Stats, Joe Flacco last week attempted 19 passes over 10 air yards on Sunday against the Rams. That was the most in a game by a Browns quarterback in 5 years. I'm not sure if that says more about the state of the Cleveland Browns because Baker Mayfield was their quarterback in the last 5 years and they did go to the AFC divisional round, or the fact that Joe Flacco just reincarnated himself and it was 2013 all over again. Of course, as Lauren noted, we don't know who the quarterback for the Browns will be.
And there's a reason for that. Just like Doug, even if right now they thought Trevor wasn't going to play, they're not going to say that. No. That's gamesmanship. That's how it's supposed to be done. All right, JJ, who you got?
Whoever plays left tackle, I guess.
All right. So, yeah, makes sense to me.
The left tackle.
Yeah, the left tackle. Because that's kind of, what I was saying is Blake Hance. I'm assuming he's going to play left tackle, maybe Walker Little. And then who you got on defense?
Trayvon Walker, every week.
Why did I even ask that question? I know better. All right, Taylor, who do you have for the Browns?
Opposing Myles Garrett, I have to go with defensively. You mentioned 13 sacks. He also has 12 tackles for loss and 4 forced fumbles this season, too. And then for offensively, I'm going to do a combo because, as we mentioned, running the ball, Jerome Ford and Kareem Hunt. The Browns' offense in general has the 7th most rushing yards as a team for a whole. This season, 6th most rushing first downs, and they have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 touchdowns between the two of them. So, yeah, try to stop. Both of them would be nice, but at least one.
It would be nice. This is one of those games that I feel like by probably like midway through the second quarter, like well before halftime, we'll know if the Jaguars brought the A game, and despite who's playing quarterback, but if they're playing intensely, or we know if it's, here we go again.
Yeah, because we also mentioned the weather, and if it is rainy and slippery, both teams will be needing to run the ball quite a bit, so...
Yeah, well, let's see what happens. All right, we've got more to do. We will go around the NFL. And also, Mia talked to Zay Jones, Jaguars wide receiver, last night. You'll hear from him coming up. You are listening to Helmets and Heels, driven by Tire Outlet on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Some picks sound better on Friday than Monday.
On any given Sunday, you're either going to win or you're going to lose.
Listen for the Otterson Wealth Advisors risk-reward picks of the week.
So the object here is to win.
All day Friday on 1010XL.
Want to be up close and personal with the Jaguars as they take the field? Here's your chance to be in the shadows, outside the Jaguars locker room, now called The Vault. Enter today at jaguars.com/shadows. One winner and a guest for every home game at Everbank Stadium. No purchase to enter or win, must be 18 or older and a legal resident of Florida or Georgia. Promotion period 9/5/23 through 12/15/23. For official rules and complete details, visit jaguars.com/shadows. Sponsored by Jacksonville Jaguars, LLC.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes. The holiday season means plenty of plumbing problems, but Fenwick Plumbing, Cooling, and Heating has you covered with 20% off all plumbing repairs and services. From frozen pipes to garbage disposal disasters, Fenwick's Plumbing Pros will offer peace of mind with same-day, holiday, night, and weekend services. Schedule your plumbing repair or service today and save 20% off. Visit FenwickHomeservices.com.
Dan Hicken here for Bowdeny & Associates. I want to remind you that now is the perfect time to schedule your eye exam. Take advantage of your existing insurance benefits before they reset in January. Join the many satisfied patients who trust Bowdeny with their vision. Schedule your eye exam now and enjoy the peace of mind that comes with clear and healthy eyes. And remember, your deductibles reset in January, so don't miss out on the benefits you've already earned. Bowdeny & Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
If you're looking for exterior solutions that provide you reliability and durability, it's time to call Armor Guard Exteriors. Whether you need seamless gutters or gutter protection, hurricane products, impact windows, glass lanais, or retractable awnings and screens, we've got you covered. Call My Home Team today for your 5-star experience at 904-906-8669.
Armor Guard Exteriors, committed to quality, and that's a promise.
Hey, David here with Royal Pest Services. It's that time of year where we're starting to bring things down from the attic. Along with that comes the critters that have been hiding up there year-round. Go to RoyalPestServices.com or give us a call at 886-2847. That's 886-BUGS.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Have you heard? Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet are attempting to sell 2,000 vehicles this December. How? I've instructed my team to take all reasonable offers. We won't lose your business over price. We have thousands of cars, trucks, and SUVs on the ground and priced to sell. We guarantee the most money for your trade and the easiest car buying experience ever. I promise we ain't leaving nothing on the table. At Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville, we're here to wow you.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes, and I'm on the exact pace as Mike Dempsey. After 4 weeks, I've dropped 23 pounds with Awaken 180 weight loss. Faster results than weight loss meds and results that can last a lifetime. What's stopping you? Awaken180weightloss.com.
The YMCA provides after-school care programs for kindergartners through middle school at over 40 sites across the First Coast. Our programs focus on safety, health, social and emotional growth, and academic enhancement. At the Y, your child can build self-reliance, get help with schoolwork, explore new talents, and develop healthy relationships with others, all in a safe, nurturing environment. Plus, financial assistance is available. Learn more at fcymca.org.
I'm Jeff Middlecoff with Trustline Mortgage. My business partners Alan Tyre, Bill Pappas, and Ken Rimley have been helping first-time homebuyers with their mortgage financing all over Florida for 34 years. First-time homebuyers can get no or low down payments, anywhere from 0 to 3.5% down. As a first-time homebuyer with Trustline Mortgage, you get added benefits for doing your loan with us, like lower rates on your mortgage insurance and lower closing costs. Oh, and did I forget to mention that Trustline gives first-time homebuyers better mortgage interest rates? Here's the bottom line. Trustline Mortgage wants to help first-time homebuyers accomplish your goal of home ownership. That's why Trustline Mortgage is offering the best first-time homebuyer benefits around, period. Trustline Mortgage delivers with no and low down payments, lower closing costs, and better interest rates. Call Trustline Mortgage today at 381-LOAN. Yes, 381-LOAN to find out how we can help you buy your dream home. Or visit our website at trustlinemortgage.com. Trust your instincts and follow the line to Trustline Mortgage.
Certain restrictions apply. See office for details. Trustline is an equal housing opportunity. MLS number 331480.
Now is the perfect time to make sure that your roof hasn't been damaged after storm season. Schedule a complimentary roof inspection with Universal Roof and Contracting. And right now, get 15% off your roof replacement and repairs. Plus, flexible financing options are available. This offer expires December 31st and restrictions apply. Universal Roof and Contracting, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
UniversalRoof.com. Brackish Vodka, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, is the smoothest local vodka you can find. Made right here in Jacksonville, Florida, 100% from corn, Brackish Vodka is the local gluten-free choice. Brackish Vodka, for those that live life slightly salty, a proud partner of the Jaguars. Take a sip of your Brackish and enjoy the slightly salty air at the beach at Tide's Bar and Grill at Hampton Inn, Oceanfront, Jax Beach. 1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Helmets and Heels
On 1010XL, driven by Tire Outlet.
brought to you by Underwood Jewelers.
And First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Mia O'Brien, Taylor Dahl, JJ Silva, I am Lauren Brooks. All right, Mia, we're about to hear from Zay Jones after the game last night when the Jaguars lost to the Bengals 34-31. What was the overall mood in the locker room?
Honestly, as you'll hear from Zay, like clearly frustrated, but much more transparent about their feelings than I anticipated. I have been in a lot of locker rooms after tough losses, after blowout losses, in which everybody packs up their stuff and gets the heck out of Dodge.
Mm-hmm.
That was not the case last night. Maybe it's because Trevor was lingering and a lot of players wanted to be around him, and they could tell he was smiling, he was upbeat, and that gave them cause to feel okay and to want to stick around a little bit longer. But usually, and again, I did cover the 2018 Jaguars. I was not here for 2017. I can only imagine what that was like. But after losses back in 2018, no one wanted to talk that wasn't named Calais Campbell. You had a couple guys who you knew you could coax into talking, but otherwise, yeah, good luck with that. And there's plenty of folks in this town that say that everything that I just said is an example of why this group is too soft and they're too much about their feelings and they're not dogs. And you know what? Maybe you're right. But at the very least, they're clearly transparent and we're willing to admit, hey, we didn't do enough. We're still not there yet. And maybe some people did think we were. And guess what? We got humbled again. So here is Zay Jones last night after the Jaguars' overtime loss to the Bengals. Emotionally, you've been in locker rooms where significant injuries have happened. Obviously, we don't know the extent with 16, but what does something like that do to a locker room?
Yeah, I mean, seeing him on the ground, wincing and hurting, that's not fun, because that's my friend, and I care a lot about him. And I know what he means to this team. I know what he means to me and the rest of the guys. So that's a heavy blow right now. We'll kind of figure out what's going on with him and hoping for a speedy recovery for him.
How much because obviously you're also thinking about C. Kirk as well, how much did him not being in the game factor in, / what did you see from Parker Washington in his plays?
Yeah, when Christian is an X factor for us, and he's very consistent. It's one of the things that, when I watch his game, I admire how he week in and week out is just consistent. And so not having him out there, leaves a hole in our offense. Not making excuses for anything, but, that's just the admiration and respect I have for him. But, Parker to get his first touchdown on Monday night was, I'm sure he was thrilled for him and his family and just the amount of work he's put in. Parker doesn't say a whole lot. He's typically quiet and keeps to himself, but you got to see a lot of his raw emotion tonight and really just kind of see him come alive. And so I couldn't be more happy for not only the player but the person for Parker.
Obviously, we don't know the extent of 16's injury, but what do you know? What have you seen out of C.J. Beathard over your 2 years here that say if he's got to go this Sunday, you guys have confidence?
Cool thing about the league, it's like a carousel of, brothers. You kind of played with someone, and so I had the experience to work with CJ in the Senior Bowl when we were coming out. So that's where I first initially met him. So I know the high character man that he is. I know that he cares about his family. I know that he works hard. And CJ is a guy who does a lot of the extra stuff. And as I was telling Eugene earlier, I was just saying backup quarterback seems like one of the easiest jobs until you're thrown in the fire. But really, it's truly difficult because you have to prepare all week and not really get those reps, because Trevor takes those. But just the mental fortitude that he has to be in this position, that's why this team and organization has brought CJ back. And so I'm excited to see what he does. But we got some time to kind of figure out in the next couple of days what's going to happen.
Last one from me. Would you describe this locker room as shell-shocked or ready to go out and play tomorrow?
Can I say pissed off? Is that fine? Yeah, probably pissed off. I think is, excuse my, but yeah, that's probably the word I would use.
Why is that?
Just because it's disappointing. You put in the work all week. We had talked about earlier how, it's a week-to-week business and you have to earn it every single week. And they were the better team tonight, so it's disappointing.
And that boils down to what we said, whether it's true or not. Did some members of the Jaguars overlook the opponent once again because there was no Joe Burrow and because it was a backup quarterback and they'd only put up 10 points the week before? And because this team had gone into Houston and scored a big win over the Houston Texans, whether you believe that was because of the play of the defense or because they got lucky and Matt Amendola's field goal went off the crossbar. Mm-hmm. So it's once again, it's so funny because it truly is, and I was glad Zay brought it up about week-to-week league because, we sat here 3.5, 4 weeks ago after the Niners loss, and the sky was absolutely falling. Since then, Trevor Lawrence has been the highest-rated quarterback in EPA per play in the National Football League. The offense has figured it out. And so, yes, it's disappointing now that the defense is the one that needs to pick up the slack, but this is the nature of the league, and this is where, again, and I don't work for Doug Peterson, but from what guys in that locker room have said, what they appreciate about him is that his temperament remains the same. Mm-hmm. It changes when he doesn't see effort. We heard about what happened week 3 when they lost to the Texans at halftime, when he felt the effort wasn't there, and he absolutely ripped them all a new one. Curious to see what the message will be this week.
Yeah, I think that at the end of the day, you're just waiting for – this is what I think they were hoping happened last night, was you saw both sides of the ball click together at once. And you feel like you haven't seen that a whole lot this season. There's been quarters here and there, but you kind of felt like this was the opportunity to be able to do that. So I get why it could be frustrating, and that's why the way he described it is the way he described it, because it's that feeling of, okay, like we've put in all of this work and we are to the point where you finally felt like this could be the game to do that and show everybody. And unfortunately, it didn't happen that way.
And I think the worst part, like we said, is it's Monday Night Football and the number 1 seed in the AFC is on the line. And they are coming in here with 6 losses and a backup quarterback.
Yeah.
Everything was going in your favor, but you didn't show up and play well on defense or, like I said, special teams to start the show. So either way, it's not the end of the season. Okay. It is 1 loss. The Jaguars' 4th loss. The Jaguars are now 8-4. We'll go around the NFL and also the AFC South when we return and just take a look at how close that race is. But it's not over.
Real quick, a little bit of breaking news, and I am so sorry to do this to my Florida State Seminole fans and listeners out there. Patrick Payton has announced that he has entered the transfer portal.
Ooh, see, it's funny. Earlier, not funny, but ironic. Earlier in one of our breaks during the Frangie show, Frank was like, Florida State is just so old. And I was like, they are. I was like, but Patrick Payton is only a sophomore, and he's really good.
Oh, no.
And I obviously had no idea that was forthcoming, but he was one of the only
returners.
Yeah. Returners on
because
the team, underclassmen. And,
now he's not.
And now he's
possibly
like many others.
No,
honestly,
it's from his Twitter account and On3's confirming it. And
he probably looked around, and just like a lot of these Gators players will probably look around and going, we're not going to be good next year. he probably looks at the situation and says, yeah, this team might be able to rebuild in a couple years, but next year, look at all the talent that's getting ready to depart for the NFL. Like, I want to win a championship. That would be my guess.
Heaven forbid, you have programs in those other two conferences, and I understand there's several other conferences in college football, but by those other two, I mean the SEC and the Big Ten, saying you didn't make the tournament because you play in the ACC and because of the level of competition you played. I, as someone who doesn't have a dog in the fight, that is where, if I was a Noles fan, I would be concerned, because you know that could be something that SEC coaches leverage with players in the ACC, with a Florida State player, and say, because you're not playing elite competition like in the SEC and the Big Ten, if push comes to shove, you will be the ones left out of the big dance. Now, obviously, the playoff goes to 12 teams next year, and so we hopefully won't have this issue again, but just throwing it out there. And obviously, if it is true and if he is headed somewhere else, as we've seen all too often in the world of college sports, probably means there's a back channel that knows he has some potential suitors out there waiting for him.
Well, Team 13 is going to be very mad next year. Whoever
that they are, but the
you had
bottom
12
line
tries.
for that team is going to be, well, you didn't do enough. I'm sure that
Forget
team's
12,
going to have
yeah.
lost a game. For FSU, the bottom line was they did win all their games, but obviously suffered the quarterback injury. All right, our bell ringer is brought to you by Bellwether. Coming up next, you're listening to Helmets and Heels, driven by Tarlet on Tintin XL 92.5 FM.
Catch the Jacksonville Jaguars every day.
Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios.
With Mike Dempsey and Fat Tony talking teal every weekday from 10 to noon.
Jaguars Today
On 1010XL.
Mia here, and let me tell you about one of our area's best resorts, the Sawgrass Marriott Golf Resort and Spa. The Sawgrass Marriott is not only a great destination for a vacation, but it is also a great destination for dining on the Florida's first coast. 1912 Ocean Bar and Rooftop is now open on Ponte Vedra Boulevard, featuring Ponte Vedra's only oceanfront rooftop bar and lounge. Serving finely crafted cocktails and delectable eats, it's open daily from 4 to 10 with complimentary valet parking.
Committed to the team. Committed to the mission. At Navy Mutual, we're committed to providing high-quality life insurance to members of the military and their families. So our policies have no fine print and no military service restrictions. We don't work on commission. We're nonprofit, so we pass the savings along to our members. Because at Navy Mutual, our highest commitment is to you. Visit NavyMutual.org. Navy Mutual, insuring those who serve.
All year long, you'll be singing our song. Stay cooler with Bueller. At the head of our class, we make it happen fast. Stay cooler with Bueller. For heating and air, we always play fair. We make the difference 'cause we really care. Bueller Air. Stay cooler with Bueller.
The deal of the year is here at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. Mia here, and right now you could save thousands off original MSRP on pre-owned 2023 models, like a Toyota Corolla LE starting at just $18,881. A 2023 Toyota Camry LE or RAV4 LE as low as $23,881. You can even get a 2023 Toyota Tacoma TRD Off-Road 4x4 as low as $38,881. Shop ArlingtonToyota.com and save thousands today.
How much is your heart worth? To a narcissist, the answer is nothing, at least not compared to theirs. But to you and the attorneys at Florida Women's Law Group, your heart is worth everything. I'm Heather Quick, owner and attorney at Florida Women's Law Group. We'll do everything in our power to get you everything you deserve your divorce. Learn how we can help at FloridaWomen'sLawGroup.com or call us 904-204-2359. Divorce for women by women. Offices Jacksonville and St. John's.
With Golden Hammer Roofing, enjoy the benefits of their 5-year workmanship warranty. Peace of mind knowing you're protected. There's no out-of-pocket should you have an issue. Having a transferable warranty is a key home selling point for the future. If there's an issue, we've been in the business for over 30 years and will answer the phone. Call or visit Golden Hammer today for their 5-year workmanship warranty.
Golden Hammer Roofing and Gutters.
Golden Hammer.
The golden standard in roofing.
Since 2014, there has been only one official home builder of the Jaguars, Dreamfinders Homes. With quality built homes and a speedy move-in process, we are in 20-plus communities in the best locations in Northeast Florida. Dreamfinders Homes is everywhere you want to live. So get off the sidelines, Jags fans, and into the game. Let Dreamfinders help you navigate your home purchase and offer great interest rates. Visit DreamfindersHomes.com for all your move-in ready homes and step up your game.
Stop stealing joy from loved ones by missing out on making memories because of your joint pain. PRPRelief.com has the answer. A local clinic with natural regenerative treatments. Go to PRPRelief.com today for your joint pain.
Eggnog in the carpet, wine on the sofa, dingy-looking tile and grout, no problem. Call Zero Res. Zero Res technicians are cleaning freaks. Over 5,000 5-star customer reviews. Zero Res, spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
It's easy to get caught up in the holiday scramble, but as we near the end of the year, let's focus on what makes America great, our faith and freedom. Hello, it's Congressman Aaron Bean, and this year I've been busy delivering results for you, from helping with passports and the VA to recovering thousands of dollars in owed benefits from the IRS and Social Security. My team has worked hard to take care of constituents in Northeast Florida. Serving you is what we do. Visit bean.house.gov. This is Congressman Aaron Bean wishing you a blessed holiday season. Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
You've got a circle of friends, right? Well, how about a circle of beer? All your favorites like Bud Light, Bud Heavy, Mick Ultra, or Natty Light. It's all there in the cold case at Circle K. Probably one right around the corner right now calling your name. Slide on in to a Circle K.
SportsForecaster.com has all the data you need to project tomorrow's winners. Register for free and track the performance of all your favorite players and teams, including all your fantasy team picks and prospects. Sports Forecaster has the most detailed player profiles on the web, precise depth charts, every transaction, every injury, every news update. No ranting or raving, no preening or barstool bluster. At SportsForecaster.com, you get the timely info you need for every game. SportsForecaster.com. Sign up for free today.
The Army-Navy Game Watch Party is presented by the City of Jacksonville Military Affairs and Veterans Department. Watch on the world's largest screens with a kids zone and free admission or donation. Gates open at 2 for the Army-Navy Game Watch Party at Everbank Stadium.
Roland Reich Plumbing, there when you need them. Big or small plumbing problem, call Roland Reich Plumbing anytime at 260-7059. 260-7059, where quality and experience count.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Stilettos and Sabermetrics.
Helmets and heels. Driven by Tire Outlet.
Brought to you by Underwood Jewelers.
And First Coast Lighting and Fans on 1010XL.
All right, it is time now for our bell ringers. As always, they're brought to you by Bellwether, where timeless American fare takes a modern turn. Located downtown Jacksonville on West Forsyth Street. JJ, take it away.
Evan Engram scores his first touchdown of the season, a 22-yarder from Trevor Lawrence to go up 14-7 on the Bengals.
Trevor drives, it's a blitz. They throw it out to the left side. It's caught by Evan Engram inside the 20, along the far sideline, 10, to the 5, dives for the end zone, touchdown! Evan Engram into the end zone for the first time this year, a 22-yarder, and Jacksonville has taken the lead.
Caitlin Clark and the Iowa women defeat Bowling Green 99-65 with Sue Bird and Jason Sudeikis in attendance.
Zeke it. And then Clark will push the other way. Clark finding Marshall. She's got it. Jason Sudeikis giving the people what they want here at Carver Hawkeye Arena alongside his friend Sue Bird.
Parker Washington's first career touchdown as a near pick turns ricochet for a score to tie the game 21.
Dropping, looking. Trevor fires to the back of the end zone, and that ball is caught for the touchdown after the deflection by Parker Washington. It was tipped by a Cincinnati defender. Washington caught it for the score.
Again, our bell ringers brought to you by Bellwether. Go visit Bellwether downtown on West Forsyth Street. We had not one but two Jaguars plays in that mix. But Mia, we'll start with Iowa women's basketball. So Ted Lasso was in attendance.
Yes. So how about Jason Sudeikis, who did you know, for those of you who are Ted Lasso fans or just Sudeikis fans out there, he did play junior college collegiate basketball in Kansas at Fort Scott. I believe it's called Fort Scott Junior College in Kansas. So he did play basketball once upon a time. And so he was at the Kansas game on Friday night and then against UConn. And then on Saturday, he and his buddy Sue Bird, who would have thought that those two are friends, they made the trek from Lawrence to Iowa City. And no word if they drove or flew, by the way. I would assume they flew, but who knows. And they sat courtside and they did the Running Man, like the song that he does the dance to in Ted Lasso. And on cue, as the fans are all chanting like, Ted, 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 he stood up and he did the dance. And, Iowa won the game handily, and that was expected. But also just, like, super cool to see, like, Jason Sudeikis, A, loves basketball, but B, wants to see the show that is Caitlin Clark and company. And the Hawks are back up to fourth in the AP poll on the women's side.
Ah, gotcha. That is important. Did you ever watch Ted Lasso?
No.
I didn't think you did.
And that's why I saw the video and I was like, I think I'm missing something because I don't know what this dance is.
I think you'd like it.
And I'm sure I would. I've been told by many people. I don't think anybody's said like, no, you won't like the show, but it's just been one of the things where I just haven't got to it. But I'm sure I will.
Yeah, I would say after football season, it won't take long because there was only the 3 seasons. But it's a really heartwarming show. Like, people told me I'd like it because the soccer angle. The soccer angle had very little to do with it. Okay. It was way more about the relationships and the character development and everything like that. I think you'd really like it.
And I
was hooked after like episode 2.
Yeah, what's super cool about Ted is like, on the surface, you're like, okay, this like super positive, upbeat guy, like I can't deal with this. Like, you know, like this is too much happiness. But they're extremely transparent, obviously, with some of the bigger issues that Ted has going on in his life. But also, like, it doesn't feel like it's too happy, joy, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it's not. And there's some sarcasm woven throughout with Coach Beard, especially, too. So I think, like I said, I think you'd really enjoy it. As far as the two Jags plays, it's unfortunate we had 2 highlights and the Jaguars did not win the game. Evan Ingram, like I mentioned earlier, you knew he was going to get a touchdown this season. It was coming. And so I thought he played really well last night. And really good to see him get involved, not just with Trevor Lawrence, but when C.J. Beathard came in as well. And then Parker Washington. We haven't really talked much about him, but other than, yes, the very end when there was a bit of miscommunication with Beathard and Washington on that play, with Lawrence and Washington on that play where Trevor got hurt. Other than that, I thought Parker Washington played really well.
Yeah, I think it was fun to watch. And even that play, it was a bit of like a mini roller coaster because I thought it was going to get picked off at first. So it was like,
a lot of us did.
Oh, okay, touchdown. And then you're like, wow, that was a really good catch, actually. Because they kept, obviously, when you're watching on TV, it shows it and it slows it down and replays. And I was like, man, he bobbled that for a second and still to bring that back down.
Really good concentration.
Yeah.
My favorite part was that in real time, you saw all the draft analysts nationally just go back and find their takes about Parker Washington from like freaking
I was right.
February. It was like, the pod knew. Thank you, Trevor Sikkema, by the way. The pod knew, and we called this in March. And it's like, well, yeah, you know, like he definitely was a steal for the Jaguars in the 6th round because on a lot of people's big boards that know a lot more about draft analysis than me, they did have him top 10. The medicals, I think, were the big reason he fell, and obviously just the nature of the wide receiver position and maybe, you know, this notion of, well, if you're not one of the top tier guys, we can get wide receivers later in the draft. But a lot of people said in terms of drop rate, he had the like most minutes, so not the highest drop rate, so the lowest drop rate, I guess, would be like near 0 during his tenure at Penn State. Some of the best hands in the class last year. And
which we saw a glimpse of.
I mean, you saw that. You saw it on the catch and on the fumble recoveries as well.
Yes. And perfect game for it to happen when Christian Kirk goes down too, because you kind of have this like deflating feeling of, oh no, not Christian Kirk. But then you see a little glimpse of like, okay, maybe Parker Washington can become something in this offense and at least make it through this end of the season until hopefully you get Kirk back in postseason, possibly later. But it was a fun catch, and it was, like I said, those moments that could have been flopped and not fun whatsoever, and he made it a lot of fun. So
he did, and I thought the offense overall, again, whether Trevor was in there or CJ, I thought the offense flowed pretty well. I did not agree with the holding call on Anton Harrison. I said to you guys at the primetime handoff, like, was it technically a hold? Yes, perhaps because of that one hand on the jersey on the outside, but you hadn't been calling that all game, so you don't call that in that moment. And you didn't call defensive pass interference that clearly was with Calvin Ridley earlier in the game. So you shouldn't, to me, if you're going to call it the way that they had been calling it, you don't call that hold. And then we would have seen what would have happened with another short yardage situation, which again, that continues to plague the Jaguars.
Yeah. Yes.
Immaculate extension, is that what we're calling, by the way?
Oh, no. I got a ton of responses for the Trevor tweet. I've gotten the Lawrence Leap. We got the Prince Poke. The Duval. Yeah, I thought that one was kind of weird too. The Duval Dunk. Air Lawrence is what ESPN was calling it. I want to come up with a name for the Evan Ingram jump into the stands. That was fantastic. We really need one of those. The T-Law quick draw. There was the something about the T-Law extension as well.
Yeah, the Jaguars tweeted out the immaculate extension, which I thought that was pretty clever.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have come up with that.
That one
was pretty good.
It got popped out, and it was like for a second, I was like, "Oh no, this is what because we were kind of talking. I want to say a couple weeks ago, we were saying you don't want to see an injury on that play, but you also don't want to see it pop out right before the line and it be a fumble in that moment. And there was a second, but then the second they played it, like the next time, I was like, "Oh, he's good." But I'm just waiting for that moment where I'm like, Trevor, just be a little careful.
We've also got the Duval Dive, the Sunshine Sneak, the River City Reach. So we got some good ones.
Yeah, I like some of those. All right, we are going to keep it on the Jaguars, talk about the AFC South standings, and also we're going to get to college football. We've got a lot more to do. You are listening to Helmets and Heels, driven by Tire Outlet on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Every good game day begins with a great tailgate. This crowd is electric. Supersize your tailgate with 1010XL at Southern Steer Butcher. It's the ultimate tailgate. Enter at 1010XL.com.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwoods. Clayton, we have all seen Forevermark diamond ads on television. Tell us about them.
Frank, Forevermark diamonds are a group of diamonds that have been separated from diamond productions in South Africa, Botswana, Namibia, and Canada because they're beautiful, rare, and responsibly sourced. Also, because the sale of these diamonds benefits the communities they come from, they're selected to carry the Forevermark icon. At Underwoods, we've sold South African and Namibian diamonds before, but Forevermark's different because these diamonds are traced and individually cared for from the mine all the way to her finger. And less than 1% of all diamonds qualify to be Forevermark. These diamonds also only sell through an authorized network of diamond cutters and retail stores that are carefully selected just like the diamonds. Underwoods is proud to be a part of that network, and we were one of the first 5 in the United States to join.
Underwoods, where customers are served with quality and respect. In San Marco, Avondale, and the shops of Ponte Vedra.
Baloo for Shinatri Chiropractic. They've helped me get rid of my headaches and pain in my neck and back. Are you suffering from an auto accident? What about TMJ pain? Headaches associated with jaw clenching, grinding of the teeth, or stress-related disorders? Shinatri Chiropractic has a physical therapist on staff for rehabilitation, quality chiropractic care, dry needling, massage, and acupuncture. Call 743-6700 or go to ShinatriDC.com.
Bolt City Heating and Air is truly a family-owned and operated local company and treats all customers like family. Don't be fooled by the out-of-towner equity firms and national corporations that use local names. There's one name you can trust when it comes to your home's heating and cooling system. Bolt City Heating and Air, Jacksonville grown and entirely loyal to this community. Schedule your winter maintenance by visiting BoltCityAC.com.
The All-Pro Roofing phone line protects you from boring radio.
Hello? What are you doing here?
I don't know. Listen for great phone interviews all day on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
The calls have been pouring in.
On 1010XL.
I'm Shane with Renew Solutions, an expert in transforming your hardwood floors to a timeless and elegant new look. For any wood floor repairs, replace, or installs, I've got you covered at Renew Solutions. Visit renewjacksfloors.com.
Salvatore's Pizza coming to Jacksonville. Salvatores.com.
Our slogan, Know Before You Blow, applies to more than just DUI cases. Hi, I'm attorney Lee Lockett of Lockett Law. Battery charges can result in jail time and criminal convictions too, So know before you blow a gasket and hit a loved one or a stranger. Drug crimes like possession of marijuana and cocaine will land you in cuffs too, so know before you blow. In a boating under the influence case, you also have the option to blow or not to blow. So know your options. Know before you blow. Go to knowbeforeyouBlow.com now. Offices Jacksonville.
Rhino Shield.
Stop paying for paint that doesn't protect. Permanently protect your home while saving tens of thousands of dollars compared to repainting. Say goodbye to water damage, mold, and algae, and enjoy decades of defense against chipping, cracking, and peeling. Beautifully durable colors on any surface, all backed by our 25-year warranty. Shield now and pay later with 0% financing. Request your free quote today at rhinoshieldjax.com.
Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
This is Hayes Carline for SkyLife Elite. Are you tired of canceled flights, unruly passengers, and layovers? Call my friends at SkyLife Elite. Consider using private charter flights for your next adventure. Yes, you can afford it. Make your own schedule. Fly direct. Drive your car to Craig Airport and get directly on the plane. SkyLife Elite can make that happen. Call 490-9332, go to flyskylife.com, and find them on social media. Fly SkyLife Elite, North Florida's premier private air charter.
Are you ready for the ultimate happy hour experience? Look no further than Bellwether, downtown's undisputed champion of good times. It's Tuesday through Saturday from 4 to 7 p, with the exception on Friday when happy hour starts at 11 a.m. Rally the team and head over to Bellwether. The vibe is full and the food is unbeatable. Free parking after 6 p on weekdays and all weekend. Bellwether Restaurant, where great food and the best happy hour in town come together for an epic win.
Sunday's chore? Loading the Bud Light in the fridge. It's time for football. Bud Light. Easy to Sunday, easy to enjoy. Bud Light is the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus. Copyright 2023. Anheuser-Busch. Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here for Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Do you have unused funds in your HSA or FSA accounts? Why not put those pre-tax dollars to its best use, your health? Awaken 180 is an approved expense for HSA and FSA plans thanks to the recognized health and medical benefits that Awaken 180 delivers. And remember, those unused dollars might vanish at year's end. So let's make those extra pounds disappear instead. You might be thinking, wait until after the holidays to start Awaken 180. But here's a thought. The program is designed for real life, holidays included. With Awaken 180, you can enjoy celebrations, cocktails, and even those holiday feasts, all while losing weight. Don't wait for the new year to make a change. Use your HSA or FSA funds now for something truly impactful, your health. Start now and step into the new year with more life in your life. Call the solution for weight loss, Awaken 180 Weight Loss, at 844-346-1800. That's 844-346-1800 or online at awaken180weightloss.com. Electricians, innovators, and tech enthusiasts, listen up. Miller Electric is shaping the future, and we want you to be a part of it. From healthcare and data centers, corporate offices, aviation, and industrial facilities, Miller Electric is powering the most exciting projects in Jacksonville and beyond. We offer not just a job, but a thrilling career with great pay and incredible benefits. Visit us at millercareers.com to apply. Miller Electric, where your skills meet our vision and equal opportunity employer.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Helmets and Heels, driven by Tire Outlet.
Brought to you by Underwood Jewelers.
And First Coast Lighting and Fans on 1010XL.
All right, we'll get into college football in just a second, but I do want to go over the AFC South. So the Jaguars, like I said, 8-4. Colts and Texans now 7-5. The Colts, shockingly, have won 4 games in a row, including just beating the Titans in overtime, with Gardner Minshew winning that game for them. And then the Titans are 4-8. Are you nervous about the Texans and the Colts potentially winning the AFC South?
Not so worried about the Colts,
Okay.
just because the nature of the rest of their schedule is a little bit more.
And the Jaguars have beaten them twice.
Yeah, it's a little bit more difficult than the road that the Texans have to hoe. The Colts do have to face the same Bengals team, and they have to go to Cincinnati. So have fun with that. And if Jake Browning was a one-hit wonder, good for you. They have to face the Steelers. It's Mike Tomlin. He's always going to find a way to eke out a 500 or better record.
Although no Kenny Pickett, I would guess, as of now, because didn't he end up having to have surgery?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Trubisky
Yeah,
starting.
but he's expected. Yeah, Mitch Trubisky is going to start Thursday. This would be the following Saturday, December 16th, because they play on Saturday. Then they get the Falcons, the Raiders, and then the Texans again. So I'm sure there's some national outlet right now saying that that's going to be the de facto AFC South championship, and go ahead. I do think that will be for playoff positioning. There's no question in my mind that Week 18
The Texans
matchup.
Colts.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do think that's a reality because the Texans' schedule is as soft as Charmin.
Yeah.
They play the Titans twice. They do have to
I
face
love
the
Charmin.
Browns, but they get them at home. Yeah, so do I. They go face the Jets. Who knows who the quarterback will be this weekend? And then they, again, have to face the Colts. So I think the schedule for those two teams is very favorable in these final 5 games. So I think there is a world in which they definitely both make the postseason. But I think if
that would be insane.
Not knowing the extent of the Trevor injury, but hoping that this was a one-off from the Jaguars defense, then if you account for all those things, and yes, you do have to face the Ravens on Sunday night, but you, in theory, get them at home, and you're going to be an underdog. Maybe that helps, not being a 10-point favorite.
Yeah.
Like who's to say that the Jags' other 4 games? I mean, yes, you have to go to Cleveland, and it's going to be snowing, but then you get the Bucks, the Panthers, and the Titans to end your season. So
I think raining, not snowing, I don't know if that's good or bad, by the way, for this team. I don't know which is better, rain or snow.
the road is better for them. I know that much.
Yeah.
They do play better on the road.
That is true. And, yeah, that's what, to me, the Colts, like you said, they've won 4. It's not the most convincing teams that they've won against. Obviously, the Patriots are absolutely terrible right now. The Panthers are not good at all. The Bucks have been kind of up and down, but they've definitely been a disappointment. The Tampa Bay fans are shouting to fire coaches right now. And then Tennessee. But when you look at the Texans, honestly, like they beat the Bengals with Joe Burrow. We saw what the Jags game down. It came down to a doink at the end that kept that from going into overtime. The Broncos, whose defense has been really, really good as of late, they were able to beat them. And then they have the Jets coming up. She was mentioning, just so when you look at their schedule, probably the toughest is the Browns, and that's without Deshaun. So I don't know that one. You have to think there is a little bit of concern there. They're a game back, and both of these teams are playing really, really well right now. When the Jags have a couple losses as of recently, and not ones that have looked pretty. So I think you have to show some concern, but at the same time, at this point, the Jags just have to win, and I think you have to look at it that way.
Did y'all realize that this coming Monday night there are
2?
Not just 2 Monday Night Football games, but they are on at the exact same time.
Really?
I didn't know
They both kick off at 8:15. Yes, this
Interesting.
is a new thing the NFL is trying. So you've got the Titans at the Dolphins, and then you've also got the Packers at the Giants, both 8:15.
Oh, yeah, I did know this, actually, because, yes, now this makes sense, because I was talking to some of my buddies who work on the Monday Night Football crew. Shout out to Ithaca College, of course, and they mentioned this, and I was like, it didn't register, but now, yes, now this makes sense to me.
It makes
That is
literally
kind of
no
odd.
sense to me, except that the NFL can do whatever they want, and they're still going to make money. So the crew that we had last night with Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, and Lisa Salters, they will be in the Meadowlands. And then Chris Fowler, Louis Riddick, Dan Orlovsky, and Laura Rutledge, they will be in South Beach. So they'll have the Titans game. But I just feel like it's very
It'll be
odd.
interesting. It'll be interesting to see those numbers after of like who's watching what.
Yeah, and
because
it's also
the Packers have been playing really well recently.
the Giants,
but the
though,
Giants aren't good, and then
and
on the other end, the
correct.
Titans aren't good, but the Dolphins have been playing
Right.
well. So it kind of, if it was like maybe Dolphins Packers, I feel like that game would be a little more interesting for some people. But it'll be fun to see those numbers and who pulls more during that time.
Absolutely. All right, let's get into the controversial topic of college football. Where were you when the college football playoff rankings were released on Sunday?
Where was I? I honestly, I think I was just at home because I remember like sitting there and my phone just started going insane and I was like, what is going on? And obviously I had been kind of like going back and forth with some friends throughout the day of who was going to slip in and who was going to be left out and all of these things, and several of them being Florida State fans. And so in that moment, I was just like, oh, like I don't like Florida State, and I've said that, but I felt bad. And I will not usually say that about the Noles at all, and I felt bad. I think I felt more so bad for Jordan Travis, and they posted the videos of like seeing their reaction when they find out, and then seeing Michigan's reaction when they find out. And both videos were just like, one was really sad, the other one was kind of funny. But so I think it's one of those moments that when you're sitting at home and you see those, that's definitely something that you'll be like, man, I remember the day when they left Florida State out.
Yeah, honestly, it was devastating to watch the Florida State video. But yes, to Taylor's point, my favorite video of the whole day was Michigan finding out they're playing Alabama and not Florida State, which there are plenty of folks who will say that's the only indication you needed in terms of who the fourth best team.
Some people would say that proved
that proves who the fourth best team was and that the committee got it right. But also, I mean, it's gut-wrenching.
Would your top 4 have been different?
No,
if you were on the committee.
No, that was my top 4. I thought they would keep Alabama out and put Florida State in just because in the history of the playoff to say no to an undefeated Power 5 champion was so unprecedented. But then the reality of next year's a 12-team playoff, and so this committee is not going to have to bear any sort of burden and have to face the music because their excuse is, oh, well, next year, don't worry, we won't have this issue. So that's a nice little get-out-of-jail-free card, which it stinks for Florida State fans. And I agree with everything Mike Norvell said. It stinks that, you tell your players that we have to play each game and we have to win every game. And if you're undefeated, you will be rewarded. And then you don't get rewarded.
Yeah.
Like with the ultimate prize. Like I get it, but it's unfortunate, but it is hilarious that in the history of the 4-team playoff, we've never had this situation happen in almost a decade. And of course, the year before it expands to 12, that's when this happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you're Florida State, you did everything that you needed to do, including playing your second string and third string quarterback, 1 in the Swamp and 2 in the ACC Championship in Charlotte on a neutral site, respectively. And you won the football games because you have a tremendous defense. I think the committee would have been fine to put Florida State in, and we would have seen what Florida State's defense could have done to the likes of Michigan. I mean, I don't know that you can sit here and say Michigan absolutely would have won. I don't know that you can say that.
You think if it was like 28-6, they would have put Florida State in?
And that's the key. I think Florida State needed to beat Florida by a wider margin, not be down 12-0 at the half, and not be up 3-0 at the half against Louisville. I think both of those ended up hurting them, even though they won both games. But when you have humans deciding it's not just wins and losses as much as some people believed that's what it should be. This was an eye test.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that it should have been, but that's exactly what they told us last Tuesday. We sat in here last Tuesday and we read the comments of Kirk Herbstreit saying it's going to be the 4 best teams. He didn't say the 4 teams with the best resume to this point. He said the 4 best teams. That means the committee was going to project who was going to be good in the playoff, who was going to play the best, and they said Florida State without Jordan Travis cannot play the best.
And listen,
cannot be the best.
I empathize, even though I don't understand with you Knowles fans out there. I had so many of you sending me like, hey, look, the BCS metrics say that Florida State was the 4th best team. And like, I get it. It stinks, but it's
because the BCS doesn't have the ability to put in that Florida State lost its starting quarterback.
Yeah.
The BCS metrics are all based off of on-field stuff and minus any sort of injury or eye test. Again, the BCS wasn't an eye test. It was a metric system.
Well, and I had a friend, one of my friends that's a Seminole fan, and he was like, I'm kind of confused about this situation. This was before the games. And he goes, should I be cheering for Georgia or Alabama? And I was like, I'm going to be honest with you. I think that if Bama wins, I'm not sure you guys are getting in.
Yeah, they knew they were, or they should have known, I think, that they were cheering for Georgia all day long.
Right, which Taylor asked me in our office earlier, how many Dogs fans have we heard from here at 1010XL this week? And the answer is certainly a lot, not nearly as many Florida State fans, but it is.
They just won 2 back-to-back.
Right. I also think it's incredible to think that a team loses for the first time in 29 games.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Right.
Goodbye playoff. Yeah. And I know Dog fans, the argument, of course, is your non-conference was not as competitive as it would have been if the Oklahoma meeting was in fact happening, and that had to get called off because they're entering the SEC next year, and that's not your fault. And
yeah, I think it was you weren't to the committee. They got off easy with Georgia because you weren't the SEC champion.
Yeah.
What would have been really interesting is had Alabama been able to get into the SEC championship as a 2-loss team.
Yeah.
then what happens?
If the week before the miracle play didn't happen at the end of the game for them to win that, how different would it be?
Right. It would be completely different. Because even if they'd won the SEC, then yes, they don't get in.
So then does neither SEC team get in? And
if
you
Alabama,
have Michigan, Washington, Texas, and FSU. If that scenario
They probably
were
would
to
have still put Georgia in over Florida State.
Possibly. And I mean, and that's where if you're Florida State, it's like, but I'm the ACC champion. You are, but you don't have your starting quarterback. I hate to break it to you. What's sad to me is if they were truly picking the 4 best teams, does anyone think Georgia's left out of the 4 best teams?
Right.
If that's truly what they were doing. No, Georgia's in the top 4.
That's what 343
Knock out
Texas.
Texas.
That's why I was asking you. That's
right.
why I was asking.
That's what 343 on the text line just said. It was only an eye test for Florida State. The eye test would have put Georgia in.
Absolutely. That's what I've been saying since Sunday is, but Georgia deserved to be in based off of the eye test, losing 3 points on a neutral field to Alabama, who we all know has gotten way better since September, and that's when the game against Texas was. But
all I know is that
again, they have 2 titles. They're very fun.
Allison Posey took that screenshot. JJ, you've seen it, right? The screenshot of Kirby and Mike Norvell on the Zoom call for the Orange Bowl. And honestly, a picture is worth 1,000 words. If you haven't found it, please go to her Twitter, her X profile, and look at it because it is.
I did see it. I also saw
hilarious.
Irish O'Fell, who covers the Knowles for War Chant. He said that, yes, that one picture doesn't look great, but that they were much more engaging throughout the press conference or the video conference. So, yes, one screenshot can kind of, make you think one thing, but he said they weren't that.
No, and apparently Kirby said he can't wait to play in sunny South Florida no less than 5 times.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing that if you're a Florida State fan, that sucks because you can't claim, I'm assuming Georgia's going to beat Florida State when I say this, you can't claim we're national champions because you're probably going to lose to Georgia. Yeah. And if I'm Georgia, you can't claim that you're probably the national champions because you're beating a team that doesn't have its starting quarterback. It just, the moment that Jordan Travis went down and we knew the severity of the injury, that was the moment that I really felt for Florida State fans. It was less on Sunday. While, yes, you kind of got screwed. You weren't winning the national championship without him, with either Tate Rodemaker or with Brock Glenn. That wasn't happening. And I think they know that. They just wanted the chance to go out there and at least see their defense play one more time. And those running backs and those receivers and the tight ends as well. All right, we've got one segment to go here on Helmets and Heels, driven by Tire Outlet on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Slow your scroll. Calm down. Sit down. Follow 1010XL on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram by searching 1010XL.
Want to be up close and personal with the Jaguars as they take the field? Here's your chance to be in the shadows, outside the Jaguars locker room, now called the Vault. Enter today at jaguars.com/shadows. One winner a guest for every home game at Everbank Stadium. No purchase to enter or win, must be 18 or older and a legal resident of Florida or Georgia. Promotion period 9/5/23 through 12/15/23. For official rules and complete details, visit jaguars.com/shadows. Sponsored by Jacksonville Jaguars, LLC.
Did you know the new 2023 Honda Accord Hybrid has an onboard system that charges the battery so you never have to plug it in? When you think Honda, you think quality, value, safety. Now think hybrid. Visit your local Honda dealer and experience the car of tomorrow today.
Denny Thompson here. This holiday season, tackle burglars and protect your turf. Give the gift of peace of mind. Catch everything around your home with Tyson Sound & Security's cutting-edge surveillance cameras. Whether you're traveling for the holidays or just cheering on your team, earn a big score on safety and convenience. Tyson has you covered for all home cameras and security systems. Call Tyson Sound & Security right now for the holiday season at 904-762-1000. That's 904-762-1000. Tyson Sound & Security. Security and automation experts.
I open the door and take you inside the locker room to get you closer to the field, the players and coaches you care about.
Get a look at Hayes' blog on 1010XL.com.
My blog is brought to you by Roland Reach Plumbing,
where quality and experience count.
Toilet or shower not draining? Water bill high? So many issues you want to cry? Call Mr. Rooter of Jacksonville. Have your number 2 business serviced by your number 1 plumber. Let us do your dirty work. Call us today.
Mr. Rooter, Mr. Rooter.
This is Hayes Carline for First Florida Credit Union. I bank with First Florida Credit Union because I trust them. I can always count on them when it comes to the vast services they provide. First Florida Credit Union was voted Best Bank in the 2023 Best of Bold City Community Choice Awards, and it's easy to see why. I go to the branch off 210 in St. Johns County and the new Durbin location, but they have 10 branches in the Jacksonville area. You need to be banking with First Florida Credit Union. They're enriching people every day. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity Lender.
There's something special about Napa Auto Care Centers. They're backed by the national power of Napa and a 24-month, 24,000-mile nationwide warranty. But more importantly, your Napa Auto Care Center is locally owned and operated by a strict written code of ethics. Put your vehicle in the hands of ASE-certified technicians you can trust. Find us at jacksnapaautocare.com. David Garrard Mondays on Jaguars Today are brought to you by Duval County Transmission and Auto Care and Go Mobile X.
Hey Jaguars fans, are you tired of being late to the game because you're stuck in traffic looking for a parking space? Well, join the thousands of other Jags fans who already know the smartest way to get to Everbank Field is on JTA's Game Day Express. Shuttles run from 5 locations around Jacksonville. Passes start at $10 and are available exclusively on the MyJTA mobile app. Visit JTAFLA.com for full details. The JTA Game Day Express, where you're winning before the game even starts. Your Game Day Express is sponsored by the Jacksonville Zoo and Gardens.
Hey, it's Mike Dempsey, and you know how I feel about Pella Windows and Doors. Great design, strongest warranties, and the highest quality product. I even chose Pella Windows for my own home. And whether you're a homeowner replacing windows or building a new home or a trade professional working with clients, I know the design experts at Pella will help your project run smoothly and look great. Visit PellaJacks.com or the Pella showroom on Phillips Highway. That's Pella Windows and Doors.
This is Fast Twitch, a new energy drink from Gatorade.
Fast Twitch, an energy drink from Gatorade in 6 different flavors, including strawberry watermelon, cool blue, and tropical mango. And available at your local Winn-Dixie.
Start fast with Fast Twitch, a new energy drink from Gatorade.
On-the-go energy from Gatorade. Find it at your local Winn-Dixie.
This classic Army-Navy game moment is brought to you by Superior Fence and Rail, where quality matters.
Played 3 months after September 11th, 2001. Both teams gathered at midfield while the stadium stood in silence for 22 seconds. A tribute to the American heroes who courageously sacrificed for their country. Omari Thompson's second-half 96-yard kick return for an Army win was a moment our nation needed to help heal. Family and a love for country won the day. Superior Fence and Rail knows about exceptional customer service. From the first call to the final inspection, Superior's team provides first-class care with great communication, friendly installers, and quality fence products. There's a reason why Superior is the top-rated fence company in Jacksonville. So get off the fence and call Superior Fence and Rail for your new fence today.
When you're on the fence.
Commercials. Check us out.
Creative. Hardball does it all.
You know, car accidents are scary. That split second before impact when you try to drive your way out of it, but you just can't. And suddenly your life changes forever. Your long-term medical outlook doesn't resemble the healthy future you had just seconds earlier. You can't swerve to miss the pain either. If a car accident has left you hurt and afraid, call 396-5555 now. It's time to turn your fear into fight. Farah and Farah, Jacksonville.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Helmets and Heels
On 1010XL, driven by Tire Outlet.
brought to you by Underwood Jewelers.
And First Coast Lighting and Fans.
By the way, quick college basketball update. Florida only down now by 2 to Merrimack,
Oh,
25-23. At one point, Florida was down by 10.
Oh.
Uh-huh. That's why I haven't really
happened?
been mentioning
Have
it.
they been struggling lately?
No, they. I
Okay.
mean, they hung around with Baylor and Virginia.
They did well against them, but then they had an ugly loss to who did we just lose to?
Wake Forest.
Yes, thank you, Wake Forest. And Wake Forest has a couple players out that are going to be key to their season. So yeah, I that game, Florida really missed Micah Hand-Logton. He's back tonight, not starting, but he's in the rotation. But Florida just down the stretch just didn't play well at all. Had again shooting droughts, which Florida's basketball has been known to have. as of late. But either way, hopefully Florida gets back on track and wins tonight against Merrimack. As far as elsewhere in college basketball.
I was just going to say, let's talk about Florida's team. No offense to the Gators. No offense to the Noles, who obviously have had an up and down start to the 2023 campaign, but a big win over Colorado, who was in the top 25 at the time. Florida Atlantic, baby. Look at them battling with Illinois at the Jimmy V Classic as we speak.
Well, they brought everybody back from
entire
the Final
starting
Four team,
five.
and Dusty May, the head coach. They retained him, so they did a great job.
Yep, entire starting five. The head coach is back. A lot of people questioned putting them, as high as some voters, including myself, did. They're proving it tonight. And I know that they do have one blemish on their record already.
But everybody, I feel like, has that.
Yeah, and especially after Maui, after the Maui Invitational, where, everybody was just beating up on each other. It was very hard for me to go through and try to figure out who the number one team in the country on my AP Top 25 this week was, just because, again, we're getting to that point, and the net rankings just started. And so for FAU, they're in the top 25 in the net. They're in the top 25 in RPI. So, yes, their one loss was to Bryant, which obviously less than ideal. But then they bounced back with a big win over Texas A&M, who might be one of the most physical teams in the country. A win over my friends over at Virginia Tech. College of Charleston, we talked about them so much last year. They've taken a step back, but they did pick up a win over them. Liberty, who's competitive as well, and a massive opportunity tonight with FAU currently leading by a basket over Illinois early in the second half as of this writing. And then in 2 weeks' time,
they got a big one.
2 weeks' time, yes, 2 weeks' time, they will face the current number one team in the country, the Arizona Wildcats. So, as far as the rest of the country goes, I mentioned Kansas earlier. They defeat UConn at Allen Fieldhouse over the weekend / Thursday, Friday. It was an epic game. Dan Hurley's squad proved why, as much as they lost 7 of their top 9 scorers from last year's national championship team, they're still a force to be reckoned with. In the early days of my interest in college basketball a decade ago, the first lesson I think I was ever taught is if you can go into Allen Fieldhouse, and even if you lose by a bucket, which is what UConn did, you're a pretty darn good basketball team. And so the Huskies, for me, I still am going to keep them in my top 5 because I just think they're that good. Purdue got upset by Northwestern on Friday night. Get this, Northwestern had never upset a number one team in the country until last year, earlier in this calendar year. And they upset Purdue, who was then number one. And then this past Friday, they upset number one Purdue again, which ironically, Rutgers did the same thing in the year of our Lord 2022. Yeah. Purdue just...
And last year there was 5 or 6 weeks where the number one got upset. It kept happening, and we were like, "What is going on?"
The most in college basketball history, and it was honestly a precursor to what we would see in the NCAA tournament, where you see an FAU and a San Diego State make it all the way to the Final Four. Some other teams to watch. Houston has some really massive opportunities for them. I've come under some fire with some of our local Houston Cougar basketball fans, which I never thought I would say, because they, in my opinion, and love Kelvin Sampson, and obviously they've gone to a Final Four in the last 5 years. This is their non-conference to start the season. UL Monroe, Texas A&M, Stetson, Towson, Utah, Dayton, Montana, and then they pick up a win over Sean Miller and Xavier over the weekend. And so that was where I said, okay, you beat a team now that's of the upper echelon. They will have an opportunity at another top 25 team when they host Texas A&M in a few weeks. And so Houston's an interesting one to watch. They're in the Big 12, and no more American Athletic Conference for them, and so that'll be one to watch. And then Baylor, that's why I brought it up with regards to the Gators. Scott Drew is a winner. Anybody who tells you he's not a good coach, and he won a national championship that was played in the Mickey Mouse bubble, that was the 2021 tournament, I don't buy it, because if there had been a tournament in 2020, there's a good chance Baylor wins that one too. And so that's why that loss for Florida
Florida State would tell you it was winning in
I agree.
2020.
Hang the banner. Hang the banner. They do have the banner hung, by the way, at the Tuck Center. So maybe the football one can. I'm just kidding, Florida State fans.
That was Mia O'Brien.
Yes, sorry. It was there. It was low-hanging fruit. I had to. But yeah, Baylor's a team to watch. Marquette, Gonzaga's picked up some good wins of late. So yeah, it's very much, the parity is still there in college basketball. And if there was ever a team that has a chance at establishing itself, it's one of the 4 teams I have at the top right now. Arizona, the unquestioned number 1 team in the country right now. Kansas, UConn, Purdue. But as we noted, Purdue, every time they get ranked number 1, disaster somehow strikes very soon.
Is there anybody that has super surprised you, whether it be they're playing better than what you thought or somebody that you thought was going to be sitting in that top 5 possibly? I'm looking at, because as I'm just scrolling through, most of them obviously are like 6, 7, 8 wins teams, but they have Tennessee at 17 and they're 4-3.
Yeah, Tennessee has played an absolute gauntlet. They were in Maui for the Maui Invitational, which of course is like the premier MTE. What does MTE mean, Lauren?
Multi-team event.
Yeah, we had this discussion last week. They've played an absolute.
Nobody knew what an MTE was besides me.
Yes. Part of it too is that this Tennessee team is a classic Rick Barnes squad where they play suffocating defense, and then they just sometimes forget to score. And then that comes back to bite them. So they are currently riding a 3-game losing streak, but that is to number 2 Purdue, number 1 Kansas, and number 17 North Carolina, which would be, to answer your question, the team that has surprised me pleasantly has been the North Carolina Tar Heels. A younger roster, Caleb Love, who you probably remember, anybody listening remembers from the Final Four, the shot that ended Coach K's career in New Orleans 2 years ago. And then he really kind of went missing a little bit in the national championship game against Kansas 2 days later. He has now transferred after a subpar season last year in Chapel Hill to Arizona. He is not necessarily the go-to guy at Arizona, but he's proved to be clutch at times. And so you lose him, but you do return the All-American in Armando Bacot, who self-admitted. He was asked during the preseason, take basketball out of this. 5th-year, 6-year senior guy. Supposed to be your leader, but again, as Jalen Ramsey taught us, you don't have to be a vocal leader to be, a captain and whatever. And says, what sort of team do you think you'll have this year? Where do you think the effort will be? And Armando Bacot said, yeah, I think we'll give good effort this year. Oh, look it up. That's an exact quote.
I think we'll give good effort.
I think we'll give good effort this year because they are a younger roster.
Confident.
Yeah, I saw it and I'm like, I voted for you on my preseason All-American team. Like, Armando, my guy.
Well, they're giving effort.
Right, they are. They're giving effort. Their only losses to Villanova, who is the ultimate Jekyll and Hyde, who I refuse to put in my AP Top 25 as much as I love the Cats. They lost to them by a basket in overtime. They've gotten wins over Arkansas, who defeated Duke last week, and some people still think Duke is a top 10 team, even if their ranking doesn't show it. They beat Tennessee. They beat Florida State. They beat a pretty good mid-major in Ben Jacobson's Northern Iowa. North Carolina is definitely surprising, but you ready for their schedule this next week? Mm-hmm. Tonight, they will face number 5 UConn.
Oof.
Then they will face number 16 Kentucky. And then they will face number 19 Oklahoma. That's their next 3 games. Oof. So we'll know a whole lot more about North Carolina come mid-December.
Yeah, we certainly will. Update on Florida. Trailing currently 31-30 to Merrimack with about 10 seconds left in the half. So Gators about to probably go to halftime down by a point because Merrimack has the ball. So, yeah.
Fun. I wanted to ask.
Not fun.
Yeah. I wanted to ask JJ about NBA, but actually, in light of what I'm seeing on X, Twitter right now, and because I know JJ loves baseball and Taylor loves baseball, and I know Lauren loves her Rays, I got to ask you 3. Where do you think Shohei Ohtani will go?
To wherever is going to pay him the most amount of money.
Good answer. Just like the Jaguars left tackle as an impact player.
Yeah, I don't think the Blue Jays are necessarily going to pay him the most, and I know the Dodgers are in the mix, so whoever's going to pay him the most, that's what I say.
It's been a roller coaster to watch on Twitter the last few days with that, especially because Cubs have been in talks, and then we'll see run reports that are like, Cubs are out, and then the next reports are like, no, Cubs aren't out. They're still in. They have not been told they're out. And then it's just back and forth. And I'm like, okay, well, just tell me so I can move on with my life. Just tell me.
JJ, any predictions?
The Dodgers.
Yeah. Here's the quotes from Dave Roberts, who's of course the manager of the Los Angeles Dodgers. He said earlier today at the meetings in Nashville that they met with Shohei a few days ago and they gave a full presentation. He is their top priority. They are confident he will pitch again. We are betting on the person. They don't know when he will make his decision. They hope it is soon. And so continues, just one of the more curious free agency, opportunities. And I mean, Buster Olney just wrote a great article about how this top secret free agency is a missed opportunity for the sport. It's a missed opportunity for a guy that already the league is not doing nearly as good enough a job of promoting what might be one of the greatest athletes we've seen in our time.
Yeah. I agree. That just popped up on mine too. And I agree, because when you're looking at it, it's somebody who the last few seasons, all we've talked about is how him and Trout need to not be on the Angels, because you want to be able to see more of them and talk about them more. And here's the opportunity to be able to do that, and you just can't. It's a bunch of secrets.
Yeah, but didn't I read or hear that Gibby may have told me that Shohei wanted it all to be completely secret? Like, why is that?
I'm not sure. I guess just to avoid as much drama as possible. That's the only thing I can think of, because
so fan bases that you don't go to don't
hate you later.
Yeah.
So Buster also reported this yesterday amidst everything going on with the Monday Night Football game here in Jacksonville. Only Shohei Ohtani seems to know where he's going to sign. One player agent says that he thinks Shohei's going back to the Angels because of money, yes, but also because he is devoted to routine and no organization would offer him more autonomy than the Angels.
That would be wild if he just goes back to the Angels after all of this.
I mean, the autonomy, I wonder, is that because he wants to continue playing both ways? Like, he wants to
possibly
be a pitcher and a hitter, and maybe the other organizations are saying...
Well, the Dodgers said they think
only
he would
pitch.
He would pitch for them too.
Yeah, he just won't be able to next year. But they're saying after that.
Yeah,
because I'm pretty sure they said cannot in 2025.
Oh well, because of his injury. No, that's yes, exactly.
But the Dodgers are willing to say, hey, we will let you be a two-way player. Maybe some other organizations want to push more, pick a side.
And part of it is that in terms of value, then monetarily, if he's pitching and he's hitting, then that inflates that bottom line
number
so much more.
Yeah.
Let's see what Rick Ballou, Lauren, and Taylor thinks about Shohei and more.
Now, the 2-minute drill, brought to you by Tire Outlet. Keeping the rubber on the road with wholesale prices and premium service. Tire Outlet, Jacksonville's largest locally owned automotive repair shop.
Rick, by the time we see you again for Crosstalk next week, will Shohei Ohtani have a landing spot?
I don't know. I really don't. I haven't been following it. I always thought all along he would go to L.A., but now we see Toronto, we see the New York teams. I honestly don't know. I mean, what's most important to him? Is it the biggest, is it every dollar, or is it a chance to win? It's different for everyone. He's going to get paid unlike anyone else, but you go to a place where you have a chance to win a ring. I mean, a lot of these guys, I don't know if they cared about the ring anymore. It just feels that way. I think money is more important. I always thought quality of life was important, but I'll never forget the conversation I had with Malik Jackson about 7 or 8 years ago. So I asked if Green Bay or Buffalo gave you an extra $1, you would have gone there. And he's like, yeah, I would have gone there. So a lot of people, it's just about the cash and that short window that they can work.
Is that our segue to the breaking news we hit in the 6 o'clock hour, Lauren?
Sure.
With what?
Patrick Payton entered the transfer portal.
Well, that's about money, too. I mean, Josh Farmer did this last year. He threatened to leave, and the NIL stepped up and paid him. I'm not saying that's the case for Patrick Payton. It very well could be. I think the other side of all of this is that entire defensive line's leaving, and this is a senior and junior team. They're going to be incredibly young next year. There's also going to be a cloud hanging over the school of feel sorry for me.
Right.
So I think there'll be a couple of guys that are like, you know what? I don't want to be around that. You just went 13-0. You did everything you could, and now it's going to be feel sorry for us, feel sorry for that. And a lot of people just don't like to be a part of that environment. So, again, I'm not saying that's the case. I don't know. I was really surprised. I was talking to James Coleman about this and T-Wig last night. We were just kind of going through everything, and we had a long conversation about Patrick Payton, and we both agreed that he's the guy on that roster that would have gotten paid the most amount of money. So I think there's a chance he comes back. That's just the gut feeling.
Tonight is your first show since Florida State was left out.
Yeah.
I'm guessing you're going to be talking about that tonight?
Yeah, well, I'm not sure. There's a few things I want to get into. I mean, obviously the Trevor injury and the Jaguars. I've always made this, about Jaguars' reaction first. I'm thinking that I really kind of want to bust out with everything Wednesday. So I'll see. We'll see what ends up happening here and which way we go. But my goodness, there's no shortage of just an amazing amount of things to discuss, including this.
Sprinkles.
Who left that? Because you understand that around here, there'll be an email that will come out tomorrow, and
it's going to be blamed on you.
The assumption will automatically be, even though I sit where Mia sits, that Baloo somehow left
sprinkles.
I've never left food in a studio in 17 years. Because look at me.
Yeah,
I don't
somebody
miss
had
meals.
sprinkles.
Everything goes in my mouth. But I get blamed for stuff like this.
I know
that. I was wondering who.
I know
left
it's
the
not Matt
sprinkles.
Hayes because he sits there during prime time and Awaken 180, so he's not eating the sprinkles on Frangie's show.
I was
So
here for
Frank
2
had
of
the
the 3
cupcake.
hours. There was no food being consumed in 2 of the 3 hours.
But Steve Griffin, it was not Rick Ballou eating whatever had sprinkles.
Hey, we'll see what happens. But,
We'll take a picture that it was here when you got here. All right, that's going to do it for us, Rick.
all right,
Have a
guys.
great show.
Ladies, have a great night.
That's right. We will be listening for Mia O'Brien, for Taylor Dahl, for JJ LaSelve. I am Lauren Brooks. Did I say LaSelva? I think I said LaSelve. For JJ LaSelva, I am Lauren Brooks. Everyone have a great night. Don't go anywhere. Into the Night with Rick Ballou comes up next.
What does ESPN Jaguars reporter Mike DeRocco have to say about the Jags?
I want details, and I want them right now.